Hey, hey, and welcome into the House of L podcast. I'm Laurence. Thanks so much for hanging out. It's appreciated. I know it has been a minute since I've done some pods. There's been a lot of stuff like that I've been working on and working through, and I'll have a pod audio only about that. And I appreciate everyone who listens on Spotify and on Apple. It's much appreciated. And I'll kind of update you all good things. But it took a lot of mental space, and we're in the time of the year where there isn't a ton going on with the Bears. So I've taken a little bit of a break, but I'm back. And as in the movie CB4, and I'm back and I'm black, y'all. And I'm black, y'all, and I'm black. Anyway, I wanted to talk about Tyrique Stevenson for a little bit because it came up in conversation a few weeks ago. I did the Chicago Clubhouse podcast. Shout out to those guys. I really appreciated them having me on their pod. We had a good time. I was back at the Lacuna Loft, and the Lacuna Loft is a really special place for me. The wedding party was at the Lacuna Loft. A lot of my artist friends have worked out of there, like my guy Roger Carter, who's an incredible artist. I know a bunch of barbers that are over there as well. And my guy Big Walt is still over there, like putting it down. It's a great place for creatives. So the Chicago Clubhouse guys, that's where they record their pod. And it was great to hang out with them and talk ball. And they asked me kind of what I thought about the Bears. And you know me, it's way too early for me to make any sort of prediction about the Bears and their season. I have some thoughts about Ben Johnson that I'll do in a later pod, but there was one thing that I do feel strongly about, and I wanted to share with you. And I know that for a lot of Bears fans, Tyrique Stevenson has become persona non grata. And I understand that what happened in Washington, I don't want to call it unforgivable, but it was a huge mistake by a young player that was thinking that that team had won a game and was getting hyped up about the victory itself. I understand why he has to win some loyalty back from you, the Bears fan. That to me, that's understandable, but it doesn't mean that you throw a talented player away. And I haven't heard enough from people up there that leads me to believe that he isn't redeemable. And I think that he is. And beyond that, I am excited about him in this scheme. When the Bears drafted Tyrique Stevenson, I was kind of like, that draft pick doesn't make sense because his background at Miami was that he was a cover corner, that he was a guy that you could leave on an island, that his skills translated to him being a bit more aggressive, being press coverage type guy, and that you can trust him one-on-one with really good receivers. When they made the draft pick, people that I trust, that I talked to you about it, because I had gone back and watched all the tape on him, and I'm like, this is a cover corner, and under Eberflus's system, they play primarily cover two. Obviously, depending on situation, down and distance, you might change that to cover three, cover one, cover six, whatever. But I know that primarily what they were doing is similar to what we saw Bears teams of the early 2000s do under Lovie Smith. So I know a little bit about that. And I was like, man, I don't know if this guy fits. That role takes a ton of discipline, and you have to be really precise. So I wasn't sure if Tyrique Stevenson was going to be able, I figured he'd be able to function, because most people, what they told me was, if you have a guy that's got coverage skills, you can teach them to be the stereotypical cover two corner. And I'm not trying to throw shade, because obviously, like, we saw some guys play that position, whether it's Charles Tillman or Tim Jennings or Nathan Vasher, guys that played that position really well. And often, whenever we say cover to corner, it's like we're throwing shade. I digress. Because Dennis Allen is going to ask his corners to do more against receivers, Jalen Johnson couldn't be more excited about the opportunity that's going to be afforded him with the new DC. And I'm here to tell you, and I don't make a lot of predictions because, frankly, it's stupid, but I feel very strongly that Tyrique Stevenson could have a good year under this system, that he could break out this season. Like, I'll use that. Like, that's one of the formulas that people do in football guides and whatnot. He's a breakout. Here's a breakout player candidate. Fine. My breakout player candidate is Tyrique Stevenson. I think that because of Dennis Allen's attacking style, he's one of those defensive coordinators that isn't reacting to the offense. I had a conversation with Kirby Smart about this at SEC Media Days last year, and that defenses are allowed to dictate terms to the offense, and that they don't have to sit back and just be like, oh, well, they're doing this, so we're going to do this. No, why don't we, the defense, make them bend to our will? And that's what I think that you're going to see with Dennis Allen. He is going to blitz from different places. He is going to, I think they call it the heavy dime. He's going to go out there, and you're going to see different guys in different spots. And you're going to be like, wait, why is Kyler Gordon playing safety on this down? I thought he was the nickel. You're going to see some of that, and you're going to see them say to Tyrique Stevenson, we're going to let you do your thing, and we're going to let you go out there and grow. And I think from everything, from what we've seen of him over the last couple of years and his draft profile, I'm going all the way back to his draft profile, I think that you're going to see a player that will have a big impact on the season. To go back to the situation in Washington, it's embarrassing. And honestly, I was in Arizona in the locker room, and I listened to Tyrique talk about the Washington thing because it felt like that moment was the moment that made the season go downhill. I personally think it played a role, but I personally think that what happened in Arizona the week after that, to me, was the signal that things were really wrong with last year's team. And I do remember walking out of the locker room being like, I'm not sure the young man quite gets the severity of action. I think that he just wanted to move on from it, and he didn't quite know how to express himself that he's going to work to make sure that something like that never happens again. I am encouraged by the choice that Ben Johnson made, bringing in Dennis Allen, the fact that you really haven't heard word one from Tyrique Stevenson throughout the offseason work as we get ready to go into preseason work, with training camp coming up in less than a month. But I am encouraged. I really think that you could see with Jalen, it's always been the elusive interception numbers. Like, we know that he's good because we know that offenses will throw away from him, even if he didn't travel with the top wideout. This year, Jalen, according to him, is going to do more of that, and that is going to put more pressure on Tyrique Stevenson. He's going to have to show that secondary guy, that guy in the slot, depending on what they do with Kyler Gordon, that he can handle being a cover corner. And I think that he can. And I'm looking forward to seeing what it is that he becomes. So there's my breakout guy, Tyrique Stevenson. I don't ordinarily go to bat like this for a player or give you any weird predictions, but he's the player on defense that I am most intrigued by this season. And there's a lot of good candidates, and Grady Jarrett is now on that. Dayo Dingbo, is he going to be able to show production? Even Jalen Johnson. Now you've been given the thing that you've always wanted, freedom as a player, responsibility to try and shut down the best player on the offense. But if it happens, give me all the love. If it doesn't happen, I'll take the score, and it's totally fine. But I'm betting on Tyrique Stevenson this season. If he's healthy, I think he's going to make a lot of plays, and maybe, just maybe, he will make people forget what happened in Washington. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you listening. We are brought to you by Remy Martin. Team up with excellence. I was out with Remy a couple weeks ago at Sunny Gun, Money Gun, and we had ourselves a time. Summertime is the perfect time for Remy and ginger ale. Perfect. You want a nice summer cocktail? They got you covered. I will talk to you next time. Peace.